After all the progress that women have made through the decades, I cannot believe that we are here, that so many MAGA men and women are no longer believing women and going as far as to victim blame women and young girls simply to protect one man, one man's actions, and not a good man. Before I get into my story on this, I just want to say we're talking about a man who cheated on every single one of his wives, whose first wife under deposition said that he assaulted her, abused her, who paid off her pornography star while his wife was staying home with a newborn baby. He was found civilly liable for sexually abusing and defaming a woman. He looked at a 10-year-old and thought I'd be dating her in 10 years and walked in on young girls and women changing. He bragged about being able to grab women without asking. And yes, one of his closest friends was Jeffrey Epstein, and we just found out that he would repeatedly send his spa girls to his mansion, even though he wasn't a member at the time. And MAGA men and women are doing whatever they can to protect him. Now my story. In my town, there was this man who was there every weekend with his Trump shit on. He was waving this big MAGA Rambo, doesn't look like Trump flag. And I walked up to him and I said, you know, it's really offensive as a victim of SA to have you waving the flag of a man who sexually abuses women in our town. And he's like, oh yeah, you were assaulted? I said, yes, I was. It was my first time. I was a freshman in college. And yes, I was raped. And the man looked at me and said, oh, what did you say? No, no, no. And he said, yes, yes, yes. A woman went up to a man on the street, and that was his response, but it gets worse. A friend of his, a woman, walks up to me with a big shining diamond cross necklace. And she said, oh, you were really assaulted? And I said, yes. And she said, did you turn it into the police? And I said, no, I didn't. I was terrified. I was scared. It was my first time. It was my first time away from home. And I went back to the room with him. I made that choice. So I partially blamed myself. So I went back home, cried myself to sleep, and transferred colleges. And she looked right at me and said, I don't believe you. She said, I don't believe you. If you didn't go to the police, then I don't believe you. And they have to say that. They have to say that because of all the women that have come forward. They have to say that about every woman now to protect Trump. That's where we're at as a society. And I have to end with this. What message do you think you're sending to the world, to the young men and women in our society, when you put a man like that into the White House? And not just that, you guys walk around waving flags and wearing hats and Trump is my daddy t-shirts for a man who is a known sexual abuser, was found civilly liable in a court of law, and says the thing he says and does the things he does. You are celebrating this type of behavior and you're telling every man that you can get away with it too. You just have to say you didn't do it, that it's fake news. She's crazy. You're telling every woman that they won't be believed. And you're telling your daughters that it's okay, it's acceptable behavior for men to do this. And it's not just acceptable, it's celebrated. It's celebrated with hats and flags and t-shirts. And the presidency of the United States of America. That's what MAGA has done to this nation. That's what Trump has done to this country. And that is how it's going to impact our society.